back, everyone. Joined once again with the boys on the couch, Big Dax and Dane.
How are we, fellas?
Good. You?
Good.
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 It's been busy in the shops.
Oh,
But now the weather's warming up. A lot of people coming out of the woodwork.
get back in shape. It's good.
It is good. Now, we're going to cover a couple of topics today. The first one is going to be a piece of diet advice and a piece of training advice that we would tell our younger selves. And then we're going to lead in to what people should, or how people should structure their diet, training, the fundamentals of fitness if you're just starting out in the gym. Because there is a lot of people who are just getting back into it now.
Yeah.
They might have had a couple of years off, or maybe their first fitness time, whatever it might be. It could be young guys, old guys, in the middle, everything in between, males and females. So we're going to help alleviate some of that confusion about what to eat, how to train, sets, reps, subs, everything
Yep.
like that. So I think I'll start with you, Dax. I mean,
I knew you were going to hit me first.
yeah.
Being the oldest.
More experience, though.
So think back to when you first started training. Probably you'd been into the gym maybe for like 2 or 3 months and you just sort of got the bug. If you could go back then and tell that version of yourself one piece of diet advice, one piece of training advice, what would it be and why?
Well, it was weird back then because I was training more towards getting ready for a bodybuilding show. And not a lot of people on the coast really competed as a bodybuilder. A lot of people got in just wanting to be big, wanted to get a big chest, big back. Some footy players would get in, they do some bench press, etc. So, was that your stomach?
It's mine.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I just had me smoothie.
Oh, wow.
Should we talk about digestion?
Far, I've got greens in my bag.
Oh my God. All right. So, and
Wow.
obviously too, back then there was no there wasn't much social media. I don't even think there was Facebook. There might have been. Was there Facebook?
Oh, maybe MySpace.
MySpace.
I don't know, how back are we going?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was like 16.
MSN?
I competed.
Yeah, probably MSN.
I competed at 17. So I guess the advice I got was really weird. It was like I got so much different advice on what I should do to be a bodybuilder, what I needed to eat. And this was going off simple stuff like the muscular development magazines that we remember. Yeah, you'd buy it for $14.95 at Unit Agent. You'd wait. I'd literally have to save up for the whole month to be able to afford it. And then would go off Ronnie Coleman's diet and Jay Cutler's diet. So I'd read it and go, fuck, 8 meals a day, Celtec, Nitratec. And I was thinking, shit. So that's how I started off. And supplements back then were way more expensive than they are now.
So expensive.
Ridiculous. Thank God. And the amount of food that I needed to try and consume, thinking that I was going to get that big, was unrealistic. It was never going to happen, let's be honest. And obviously these guys are a lot older than me, more experience. I was 16, a little natty skinny body. I think I was like 68 kilos, but I was just starting out. So I guess that advice I got from magazines, from guys that have never competed with me before, me trying to compete as well, was just full span me out. And I'd made so many mistakes along the way. And I guess the good thing that came out of it, positive out of that, was now I get to go back and tell people don't do that.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say what I would tell myself back then because it was all really good and relative to this day and age, because now what I fucked up on, I can now obviously help other people. So I couldn't just say, like, what I would give advice would someone say, if you have a coach or you're good mates with someone that knows a lot, just listen to that person's advice, but try and take a little bit of everything, but don't confuse yourself so much and stick to the basics.
Yeah.
Because the basics always work. And as you progress, you can obviously read into more. But if you have a coach, you just need to stick and listen to your coach. So that, I guess, was the food side of it. Training was like, okay, so when I remember some guy approached me in the gym one day, and he was from the army, and he goes, what are you training today? And I was like, everything. And he goes, what's your split? I go, what's a split? He goes, don't you do like chest and buys? I was like, nah, man, my mum drops me off here at like midday and I train till 4. and I just do chest, back, shoulders, arms, bit of legs, bit of cardio. And he's like, no. You need to do a split. That went on for 2 years before I even knew what the hell a split was. So I think it was good for me to absolutely be training at that time and learn a lot. But I guess, once again, a bit of advice I'd say to myself back then was try and ask more questions to people that were way more experienced than me or had more experience in the gym and take advice from them training-wise.
Yeah.
I guess we've been doing it for so long now. It's actually hard to remember back then what it was like for me starting out. But obviously approach somebody that knows a little bit more about the gym nutrition. That's where I think we obviously come in handy, obviously. That's what we do. And listen to their advice.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, I remember being a school kid going to train in the gym, and you dead set, you train everything. You just go in, you train everything, like, and you still see it these days because they don't really understand what they're doing. They're going to the gym and they're trying to do the right things, but they don't fully get, like, all right, what is your goal? And they're like, I want to look like C-bum. You're like, okay, well, that's not going to happen right away.
Yeah.
It's a process, and training like that isn't the way to do
You
it.
can imagine me, but I walked in thinking, I'm going to be Ronnie Coleman. I was 16. Like, that's who I thought I was training towards to be. So it was hard. C-bum's still incredible, let's be honest. Like,
Great
no one's
physique.
going to be C-bum unless you're C-bum. But that was hard for me. I was like, and I'm not going to get there.
Yeah.
Do you reckon, like, remember back then how there was, like, such a lack of knowledge on the internet, especially around, like, supplements and diet and steroids and all that? I remember watching videos on YouTube of Ronnie Coleman being that naive, watching him going, oh, I wonder if he's on steroids. And I was like, no, he couldn't be because he's competing in a competition. Like that's how naive it was back then. And now you've got, like, every Tom, Dick and Harry blasting stuff.
Which I think it's great to be open about that stuff, but I don't think it needs to be blasted all over social media.
Yeah.
Especially for the younger kids, because them coming into training now and they flick through Instagram and they say, old mate, you need to use this, this and this if you want to get like that. They're like, shit, that's what I need to do. Like, I've got to ask the guy at the gym and old Bob down the road, blah, 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 if he can help me out. And that's where they start.
Yeah.
Like, man, like, you got to build that foundation in the gym
Yeah.
before even thinking about that.
Well, bro, I mean,
And obviously the dangers of it. Like, that's another subject we can get into
Another
later
one,
down.
yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
But what I'm trying to say is, cool, be open about it.
Yeah.
If you want to be, but I don't think it needs to be that open on social media because it can be dangerous.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially this day and age with the younger generation.
I mean, you guys will get it in store all the time, like young boys coming in, telling you the amount of shit that they're on. And then your first question, they want to get bigger. I mean, first of all, they walk in, they don't even look like they train.
Yeah.
And they're telling you they're blasting all this stuff. And then you're like, all right, well, what do you eat in a day? What's for breakfast? I don't have breakfast. Don't have, like we spoke about this in like our previous podcast. But yeah, I think it'd be a good one to cover. Cool. Okay. So pretty much, yeah. Just
So I know
more
that was
knowledge
a fair bit to it, but it was hard for me I had that much weird, not wrong information, but mixed information when I was younger.
Yeah.
It was almost like you had to go to the library and suss everything out yourself. Go find the books, fucking like put it all together. Whereas this day and age, everyone can just jump online and kind of
That's
watch a
it.
video.
Easily
Yeah.
accessed. Yeah.
So it probably took me longer
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
learn how I should be doing things.
Yeah. What about you, Dane?
I really started training for football, really. Like, I was a little bit of a tubby kid when I was younger.
Every time I think of your younger self, I just think of that photo of you in those
Oh.
long jean shorts.
Can we
We'll have to
Put it, I'll send it to you.
you have to put it up. This photo. I still remember that day my dad took me. It was at Bonneville Golf Course.
Oh,
Got the sunnies on, got like orange hair. I tried to dye it
love
to go
it, eh?
blonde. The jean shorts. That's a cracker. That's definitely got to
Skate
go up.
shoes.
Yeah, skate shoes.
You look about 2'3".
That's a
Yeah,
classic.
sorry.
But yeah, I really started for football. Like, I just started really running, like going for jogs. I remember I used to when I lived in, I'd run along the water, go for jogs, come home, do a few chin-ups at the back, a few barbell curls out the back. And then really got into the gym. Same as Dax touched base on. I really used to go in there and, train full body. But I used to train for so long. Like, I'd go in there and train chest for 3 hours. And I'd still be like, oh, no, it's not enough. And I'd go down to Coles, get a whole chicken and like a bottle of like chocolate milk and just sit there and eat it and be like, I'm getting so jacked. Literally. Like I can still remember it.
But some of the, sorry to cut you off, but that's
No, you're
reminded me of something, like advice that I got back in the day was like, me and my mate Damo used to laugh about it. There was a guy going, I think I've told you, he goes, if you drink a 2 years old, he goes, that's equivalent to a steak and 2 eggs.
Oh,
This old guy used to say to us at the gym. I said, yeah. And then one day Damo just cracked. I said, mate, how is it? Like, there's no nutritional value in it all. He goes, it's equivalent to steak and 2 eggs. And he was so adamant about it, that that's what the nutritional value from that beer equaled that. And he goes, that's what you should have post workout. I'm telling you, it was scary. No one knew what the hell.
Nah.
That guy.
He had a big chest.
I was the same. I'd literally go down to Coles and just sit there with a whole chicken out front of the gym. There'd be a carcass everywhere, wings on the floor, all over my face, bit of skin hanging out off my chin, and just sit there and have like a chocolate milk and be like, I'm getting so jacked. But
Could have been a lot worse.
I was gonna say, yeah, definitely.
Bit of
You know,
chocolate
it could have been a lot worse.
Absolutely.
But
Sounds like our bulking on a budget.
That's another one for another day. It's I think the biggest I would take away is like less is more when it comes to training. Like even still now, sometimes even with me, even training for a fair while now is just overtraining. I think people, even when I speak to people, they come in the shop and it's like they do 20, 6, 7 exercises for chest, 20, sometimes 10, and it's like far out. Like, are you really? Again, it just goes back to that. Are you really training correctly and like hard? You don't need that much. Like I'm all for it. If you're someone who wants to go in the gym, you love it, you love training. But if you actually want to build your physique and build muscle, I just think some people can overdo it. Do you guys agree?
I agree. Yeah.
With that?
The thing is with that, this day and age, is a lot of people use the gym as an outlet and helps improve their mental health. So
It's a social thing.
Yeah,
and it's a social thing, could be a social thing, but
so many
it's
good
like
benefits.
you can go tell somebody to stop training 6-7 days a week, and they're like, well, man, that extra 2 days for me makes me feel so good about myself.
Yeah.
And it helps me out of dark spots.
Yep.
And you're like, what do you say? Nah, don't do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been hit with that plenty of times, and I'm like, you know what? Do it.
Do it, yeah.
Sweet. I mean, you're not trying to be Mr. Olympia. If you put an extra 2 days and you enjoy the gym and you get a lot out of it and makes you feel better about yourself, then that's it.
Definitely, yeah.
You
You're
know
spot
what I mean?
on. You
It's-
can't
it's-
be
you've
like,
got it. There's a dividend where it's like someone that's trying to, really hit the best in their physique, or someone's this trying to do sort of both, but is in a bit of a bad way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let them train the extra 2 days. Tell them go and do it.
You gotta
What would you
think
want to
too.
see him on a 2-day bender? Or
Yeah,
do you wanna
that's
see
it.
him build
Exactly right.
Hitting chest for the second time or legs the second time.
You got to think too, like if they're doing like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 exercises, they're not really flogging themselves up.
Nah,
Like,
no,
it's not like you
correct.
coming in and training with us where we go, 4, maybe 5 exercises, balls to the wall. Like
And you can't
they probably
move.
have that extra room to move. But I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
like just too much and no focus.
Yeah, too much. And then you'll have a conversation with them and they'll be like, oh, I'm just, I'm struggling. My chest isn't growing. I'm not building muscle.
A lot of the younger people.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And it's like, oh, I'm not building muscle. And then that's where we come in and
Yeah.
say, look, why don't you try to cut it down? And I always ask them too, like, how are you training? I think that's another big question because we touch base on this all the time. It just comes back to the basics. Yeah, and then again, nutrition.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Like, I think most people where they could be a lot better is their nutrition when it comes to building a physique for recovery, performance.
I think like it's an ego thing too. Like we've all been young men, and you'd be the same. You go in the gym, you try and lift as much as you can on the bench press. You get no chest activation, but you're just wrestling the fucker up. You know what I mean? You still see it these days.
Oh,
I think females take a better approach to it in the fact that they slowly build up.
Yeah.
Their form is so perfect and they're actually activating the muscles they're training. But as men, we just want to go in there and be like, oh, alpha, I'll lift more than you kind of thing. And it's exactly what you're saying. When people come in, they're like, for instance, oh, my chest doesn't grow. And then they show you a video of how they're training chest. Like, well, you're not even using that muscle.
yeah. It's like your
you're
shoulders and
using your
triceps.
shoulders,
Yeah.
Can I add like a little outside perspective? Ever since you guys spoke about intensity, like because I'm putting size in the moment, I just focus on intensity. Every time I'm like hitting more intensity, I'm growing.
Yeah.
intense.
Mm.
Like it's so good.
It's
Yeah,
funny you
sure.
say. I had my mate come in the other day on that note, and he said, "Man, ever since you talked about putting your phone down, he goes, I've trained so much better." He goes, "I sit there and realise 5 minutes in between sets."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Now I'm doing a whole workout in 40 minutes. I'm home to have more time to eat and chill with my family before I go to work." I was like, "Yeah,
Crazy how much like people got from these videos, like the trainer ones.
Mm.
You know, and it's just the basics. There's nothing.
I think if you're there to
special about
train,
it.
you get it done." That's
Yeah,
it.
100%.
What about yourself? You got to ask yourself the same question you asked
Yeah, ask
us.
myself.
what do you
No,
think?
I know exactly. So the first would be that activation. I remember when I first started training, first going to the gym, I was a skinny little surfer. I was playing soccer on the weekends, and then I did my knee, and it was like the doctor said, you got to go to the gym and start building that muscle up so it can stable. Anyway, 20 years later, it's still a piece of shit. So nothing ever
You've been
happened.
waiting to get that operation for a long time.
I'm not going to get it. Everyone I speak to says don't do it. But so I started going to the gym, and then I started really falling in love with it because obviously you see your body change as a young guy, and I started getting pretty hooked and started looking into supplements, everything like that. But yeah, it would be, I think one piece of training advice would be, think about how you move the weight through a movement to actually activate and put more emphasis on the muscle, like specifically chest. Every guy wants a big chest. I remember my chest seemed to lack, especially in the upper part for so long. It's still lacking, but it's getting there. But I feel like now I have such a better muscle-mind connection in when I'm moving the weight, I can actually feel it pushing with the chest, not with my shoulders. And I think like if you are a young guy listening, think about the movement and what muscle you're trying to activate instead of just going to the gym and just ripping the hell out of it.
Yeah,
Like,
just moving it for the sake of moving it.
you will save yourself so much time in the long run, and your physique will get better as well.
Well, same with the females too. But
Same
Yeah.
with females,
Yeah.
predominantly, like I said before, it's the guys that go in there just want to fucking throw the weight on and go hell for leather. And I get it. Like, we've all been there. We've all been there. But, like, listen to some old heads here and, like, just take a step back. Even if you're new, take a step back so you don't injure yourself, things like that. It's not all about weight. We're not trying to be the three of us aren't trying to be powerlifters. We're trying to, make our bodies look a particular way.
Yeah.
So you don't often get that by lifting. Like, you got to lift heavy, don't get me wrong, but it's how you move the weight through a movement.
For sure.
Diet-wise, back then I had no idea, man. Same as you, Dane. I remember watching Trey Brewer on YouTube, and he was eating chicken gravy and potatoes, and I thought that was it. Fucking tastes good.
It's funny talking about it, the old days.
I remember I used to look at like the back of like, you used to order like at Macca's or whatever, and you'd be like, oh, there's like 30 grams of protein in a quarter pounder or whatever, minus all the junk that's in it. It's like, so I think if I could tell myself like the power of nutrition, I think that's something so valuable that I could tell younger. I'm going to target more men because we get it more. Like, men are more open with us. With females, they'll ask questions, but they'll usually ask coaches or other females.
I agree.
Give a shit about your nutrition. Understand what goes into your body and how it's going to make you perform. Because no matter if you're running PEDs, a shitload of supplements, your training's perfect, if you're not fueling yourself correctly, it all goes out the window. I think like that's the most powerful thing that I've learned is the power of food. And it doesn't matter how much shit you're on. If you haven't got your food nailed, you are going to go absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
I mean, just for an example, that's how Trey Brewer ended up at the end of his career. Right? I don't know if you can.
How did he look in these?
Trey Brewer had an
He was
absolutely
big, eh?
beautiful physique on stage.
Is he still kicking?
Yeah, he doesn't bodybuild anymore.
Yeah.
He's just he's
Farmer.
He's a fiery.
Yeah.
That's him on. Yeah, he looked crazy. His off season just went for too long, and it ended up like that was his last guest appearance. Oh, bro, I loved Trey Brewer.
yeah.
I loved him.
Yeah,
I thought, man, he was massive. He was the first teen freak.
Yeah.
So I guess another quick subject we can speak about is someone that's getting into training, male or females. Advice on training, what they should try and they look to be doing.
Yeah.
Advice.
Yeah. I would say, all right, first understand nutrition, understand protein, understand supplements and what supplements to take at the start and what supplements to maybe like take down the track.
Yep.
And it comes into it comes into going and speaking to someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Like there is a lot of people in stores that don't really know what they're talking about. Like, and I'm not tooting our own horn, but we genuinely
excuse me.
we genuinely give a fuck about our customers. And I mean, you boys would have had it heaps of times where people have maybe gone somewhere else, come in with this list of stuff, and you're like, well, you don't need that. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Why are you taking this? No, don't take that then. Take it here. Like, talk to people who understand, who have a bit of skin in the game, who aren't just there. Like, I mean, we're all invested in it. Like, this is our bread and butter.
Yeah.
It's not a casual job for us. Like, we genuinely give a fuck. So ask questions, especially to people who've been in the industry. Like, I love it when someone comes in with a genuine question on like training, diet, subs, whatever it is, because then you're able to help them, especially like if they're new. So yeah, I think it would be like, understand the basics on diet and supplements. With training, I think the biggest thing that you could take out of it, no matter what level you're on, even if you're starting tomorrow or you've been training for like 5 years, whatever it might be, is what I said before, learning how to activate the muscle correctly and thinking about how you move that weight through the movement to activate the muscle.
So how many days a week would you tell somebody to start off with?
Start off with 3 to 4. Yeah, 3 to 4.
I think 3 to 4's good.
Yeah, and I think like as a general split, if they're just heading into the gym, like a little bit of an all body kind of thing, get all the joints, all the muscles moving. We're not going to be hitting any like crazy PBs, powerlifting, anything like that. Just to introduce the weight to the body.
And I think if you can seriously skip a whole bunch of mistakes, and you would tell somebody to train 3 days a week, understand what each machine or piece of equipment targets on that body part. So for an example, if you're like, okay, I'm going to do chest and I'm going to do incline dumbbell press and I'm going to do incline barbell press, they both target the upper chest. And if you're starting out, you should probably just choose one of those.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like back. We'll do a lat pull down. We'll do a wide chin up. Do you know what I mean? Just do one or the other, right? So choose probably, I would say 3 days a week. And I would choose 3 exercises per body part to start off with and do 3 to 4 sets, probably 8 to 10 to 12 reps.
Yeah.
And increase the weight over the period of time, over the 3 to 4 weeks. Once you start feeling stronger, then keep progressing in adding more weight to it.
And I think getting used to
that's
the movements
progressive
too.
overload. It's the most simplest way to build muscle.
To build muscle.
And it's effective still. There's so many ways to build muscle, but that's the most simplest way to do it. And you know what? Like, if you want to do it on notes or you want to get like back in the day, I had like this little notepad I stole from my mum, flicked it over, I used to write on that and I had it in my gym bag. And then each week I would say, I've gone up, like I'd add 5 kilos.
Yeah.
Now I don't really do so much. I can just, how much I lifted on it last week, sort of just remember. And nutrition, just make sure you're probably getting enough protein, carbs, and some fats in the diet.
Yeah, some healthy fats.
And when trying to understand, the more, because there's so much on the web at the moment and Google, just take your time to understand what's a good fat, what's a good carbohydrate, and what's
They've
a good
got that
protein.
luxury now, don't they?
They've got that
heaps of-
luxury. And that's going to save you so much time and so much mistakes.
Yeah.
And
Heaps
you're
of
going to be
places.
sore. If you're starting out, you're going to be sore. And if you're too sore to do that body part again, then wait another 1 or 2 days and then hit it again after that.
And get used to different, machines, free weights.
Yep.
Especially if you are new. You walk into the gym, some people are like, what are these machines? But again, obviously you get like a coach or someone or a personal trainer or someone to show you and get a feel for each movement as well.
For an example, a young girl that walks in to train for the first time or first week and they see some female doing some crazy new glute exercise, they're going to go, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's hard. They're going to be going, oh, well,
How do
what
I
the
do
hell is
that? Yeah.
Like, probably just start with the basics.
And it's hard to explain to some people, like when they're new, how to bend. Like say for instance, like a bent over row, right,
Yeah.
with a barbell. How hard is it to tell people to hinge at the hips?
Yeah.
Heaps
The
hard.
knees start to drop and then the shoulders roll over. No, just hinge, and you start getting frustrated.
You know
'cause-
what? That's an exercise they probably should not get into
100%,
for at least 6 months.
Yeah. I reckon even just start with
Bent
machines.
over row, seated row.
Yeah.
Yeah, or start with
To do
machines.
it, grab the V bar and pull back to your stomach. Sweet.
The basic. Or even just
Lat
stick
pull
to
down.
machines
Exactly. Just the
until you get
simple
used
stuff.
to it.
Yeah.
Play it safe. Just introduce the weight to the muscle.
But we are going to do some training vids
We
on
are.
some basics of training,
It's going to be
getting
good.
into it.
And even over time, the biggest thing, even for us, is again feeling each muscle.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people struggle with finding that mind muscle connection, and it is a thing.
Yeah.
Like for years, like where some people, you know, where they flex their chest or even their quads or whatnot, some people struggle. They're like, I'm not feeling it there, which that's just another thing that over time will come.
Yeah.
I noticed that over the years of training.
How many times have you, just for an example, the other day on the leg press, I had my legs high, and Ted goes to me, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "I feel it more on my glutes and my hammies. That's what I'm trying to target." He did that. He goes, "I don't feel that there. I feel it more on my quads." Cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You don't do that. Put your feet down. Different ways of putting your feet or your arms or your anything you're doing is going to probably hit people differently. So there's no right or wrong where you put your
Hands, yeah.
Just make sure you're doing it properly and make sure you're hitting. If we're doing back and you're feeling, I can feel that in my arms, like you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Make sure you feel it in your back. But that's obviously get deep into that as we do that.
That's another one, yeah, for sure.
I think the biggest thing is ask questions, like
Yeah.
whether it's to your mate in the gym who's been training for a while or whatever it might be. Ask questions and do some research, and then you can ask questions off the back of the research.
And if you can afford it, get a
get a
PT.
coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just comes down to the basics we talk about. Training, the nutrition part of it.
Yeah.
Obviously your split, rest and recovery, the supplements too, you know.
Yeah.
I think,
Supplements come into it.
They're not all going to get that
Yeah.
to start off with.
No.
Yeah.
That's a lot for them to understand.
Yeah.
Oh, they need the supplements in, the
Yeah.
training, the sleep. You're going to make mistakes the whole way through.
Oh,
I mean,
for
how
sure.
many, like, think back to when you first started taking subs, like, how much money would you boys would have wasted on stuff? I know
sure.
for me,
I
like,
know.
I remember being like 17, 18, getting fucking tribulous, thinking I was going to turn into Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, I remember I was mowing lawns like all week, and I remember it was called like testosteroid or something. And it was
the
just,
powder? Or
yeah, this testosteroid, and I seen it all over the magazines.
Yeah.
Remember Greg Plitt?
Yeah.
Was it Greg Plitt?
I can't remember who was behind it, but I know,
And
yeah,
he
I
was
bought
half a
testosterone
percent
as
body
well.
fat.
Yeah, and he was
Yeah.
shredded. And he's
Yeah.
like, this testosteroid. And I was like, oh, Dad, I'm mowing that many lawns. Like, I was doing everything. I had grass hanging out of my teeth, honestly. And I was like, I'm going to get this testosteroid.
How bad did it smell?
Oh, the taste too, like the burps.
It tasted just like you'd mixed
Oh.
like every herb and spice with
Because
chocolate.
they put a whole bunch of plant sterols in
Oh,
the protein
it was
powder.
it was like eating a bit of
It
malt.
was never going to taste good.
I still
But then they
remember
got
it, eh?
sued and had to call it testo rod.
And I remember taking that and just had Greg Plitt even as my screensaver on the phone. I'd have a scoop of that in the morning, walk down my back into the gym and be like, oh, no, I'm training the house down. 100 bicep curls.
Oh,
I think
man.
this day and age, it's like the companies have gone back to the basics.
yeah.
Yeah.
And added a few extras in there. And they don't promise the world, but the basics work.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There was a lot
You
of
know what
those
I mean?
big American companies
How much
promising the
creatine
world.
do we move?
Yeah.
For good reason. Creatine works.
Yeah.
Simple.
Simple as
Remember
that.
all the old like muscle tech ads and stuff, like 430% increase in protein synthesis.
Yeah, I fell for that.
So did I.
Yeah, I fell
all
for it.
did.
We
We're
all did.
We're all young men trying to
Celtech
grow. Like,
was just creatine with some carbohydrates. Simple.
tasted good, but
Tasted great.
Yeah.
You'd get the same thing for $70 in their store.
Yeah.
We'd be paying $300 for it.
I had that. My whole bag was red with BSN. I thought that had the Ronnie Coleman
Trey
stuff.
Brewer guy.
Yeah, and Trey, True Mass, fucking
And you-
Synthesix.
Oh, and you'd go to the fitness expos too, and you get like the BSN, the jumpers with the hoodies and the sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm wearing this on Monday for sure.
I just remembered something quicker than I thought I'd go over it. I had a guy come the other day, great bloke. First time I've met him, he come down. Been wanting to meet you for a while. Old school bodybuilder. Show me photos of him back in the day, as we do. And he goes, "This protein shit." He goes, "I just use skim milk powder, exactly the same." I was like, "Oh man, don't get scientific about it." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Is it?" I go, "Nah." He goes, "Yeah, it is." I said, "Oh." I said, "No, it's not." I said, "Skim milk powder ain't no whey protein." I
Yeah.
said, "Similar to a degree." I go, "This is broken down, filtered so much more to get higher amounts of protein, all the shit taken out of it. So just skim milk powder." I was like, if that's what you want to go with.
Go with.
That's a whole nother episode, bro. That's like the whole calorie versus calorie.
I was like,
Don't
I'm not
get
going
me
to
started.
argue. But then I said, cool. But he ended up getting some protein powder, messaged me about 3 hours later, and he loved it. It
Yeah.
was heaps better on his stomach. But then went on to tell me that everybody in the Olympia these days would not want him to place close to back in 98, 2000s. He told me Derek Lunsford had no back and Hardy Truman has no legs. And I was like, that'll do me.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Wow.
Derek Lunsford has no back. I like these conversations with guys like that.
I like, yeah.
Because I know how far I can get into
You
it.
get so G'd up, eh?
I was laughing because my mate was eating stitches. He's like, Derek Lunsford has the best back ever.
Oh.
Anyway, I think just to wrap it up, I think,
Nutrition.
and I'm sure you guys would agree, I think nutrition's number one.
Yep.
If you can nail your nutrition, it's going to help you train harder. You know, if you're not eating enough and you're going in trying to grow, it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
If you're eating shit and you're trying to get shredded, it's not going to happen.
Yep.
So
Same as
You're
training.
almost your best eating very well for 7 days a week and training 3 than eating well for 3 days and training for 7.
100%.
All over
You'll
it.
get better results.
Great statistic.
And come and see us.
Yeah.
We're always here. You know,
Yeah.
we love when our customers, clients, people pop in. Oh,
Yeah.
hey man, like need help with our diet. Sweet, let's get you sorted.
Yeah, 100%.
You know.
But some people won't listen and continue doing their
Yep.
American thing. All we can do is help, and we're always here.
Well,
mate, so-
Nick's put 5 kilos on.
yeah,
Yeah.
Nick's busting out.
5 kgs.
Keen to see
Yeah.
That's
us.
over a kilo a week.
That's
What is
solid.
it? 1.2 a week or something?
That's solid.
Mm.
All this Olympia talk and
Yeah.
backs, he's keen as.
Does that calm down? You fucking drink so much water and you just piss all the time?
Bro, it's a great thing that you're pissing all the time.
Yeah.
It probably will. It
Got a
probably
bucket
will.
under
Yeah.
there.
Up at Tuggerah, obviously where I work out of, the biggest problem or issue I find is people not sleeping enough. That's why the everyday sleep is so
Yeah.
important up there in Selves.
It's the same as us. People come in that, you know, get up at, like for ourselves, get up at 3 a.m. in the gym, 3:30,
It's like,
3:40.
yeah,
Who's getting up at 3?
Oh.
he does. He sent me a video that at 3:15 in the morning.
Anyway.
I was awake.
I need to wrap this up, boys. I've got to go.
Yeah, we've got to go.
Yeah.
No, well, you guys go. Me and Dan.
Yeah,
I've got to go to Campsie. I can't wait to drive there.
We'll just say.
We hope you got something out of that.
Remember, guys, basics.
Keep it
Execute
simple.
the training, the
Yeah.
nutrition.
And yeah, if you
Give
have
it
questions,
time.
ask, inbox us, whatever it might be. Always happy to help. Till the next one, we'll see you then.
See you later, guys.